without Ray, it would have been a different experience. I mean, Ray was a co-director, co-writer, but if let's say he was just like a visor, right? Without Ray, it would be a humongous different experience. And to me, it sounds even funny that there are war films that don't have, you know, a guy who actually did it. That civilians are telling these stories, because how can you be so accurate then?
Well, this was a light film. It was fun. Just easy. As a viewer, it was incredibly intense and closing my eyes. How much did you guys have to do your own boot camp and get into these characters? Starting with you, Will.
Yeah, boot camp was very formative for us in a kind of like two-pronged way. I think that what it allowed us to do within the best of our sort of capabilities was sort of represent Navy SEALs and their skill set. We obviously learn a very kind of condensed and reduced version of what, you know, SEALs go through in BUDS and over a much longer period of time. But it also took care of developing kind of authentic and really meaningful bonds with each other. And after 3.5 weeks of boot camp, like, it's crazy how close you get to somebody. And like, I think like one day kind of is sort of 1 week in reality, and 3.5 weeks, I can't do the maths, but I felt like I knew these boys for years after we got done. And that was just put us in really good stead for representing what we represented on screen.
Well, is it the same for you guys?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think as an actor, I didn't really need to do too much prep-wise, because I knew, and it was true, that the training was everything I needed. You know, those 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks of training was everything I needed to prep. And because of the training, you know, it felt like we were more reacting to situations rather than acting in them. You know, like when we see Joseph Quinn and we see Cosmo Jarvis there in pain, it seems real.
Wow. Wow. I mean, same for you.
Yeah, everything that these guys are saying, and you know, when it came to just like filming, I mean, you know, there's total of 23 guys, you know, and then like, you know, you got to cover all those guys, you know, on the camera, and everyone gave their everything, even when the camera wasn't on them, or because you never knew where the camera was going to be, you know, and that required, I mean, just such a generosity from everybody. I mean, and the whole process of like reacting to like, you know, what DP was saying about just like, you know, Joe or Cosmo, and just like, you know, when you look at everyone's eyes, like whenever my character comes in and I see, you know, DP and just where he's at and with what Will's doing, you can't help but to be immersed in just what's happening, you know, and it's like a play.
Yeah.
They're like 10, 15, 20-minute long takes over and over and over and over again, like, and it just really just informed everything. And it was very rewarding in the sense of, you know, every day, you know, we would talk about the day, we'd come home, we'd eat, and just, we spent every second with each other, and that just fortified a bond that will just live the test of time.
There you go.
Now, I gotta say, having not only Alex on board as director, you had someone who knows his shit, technically.
Yeah,
what was
right.
that like? That seems like amazing as an actor.
Yeah.
Really, really cool to have it be a kind of co-directed project. And I think, you know, the unique thing about this experience is that all of us had contributions from the gentlemen who lived the experience and weren't just able to kind of like direct us as to what they thought might be authentic.
Right.
They could tell us quite literally what happened. So that makes for a very unique challenge that I wouldn't even say was really an acting challenge so much as a kind of opportunity to recreate and really kind of immerse ourselves in the reality of this situation.
For sure, for sure. What about you guys? What was your experience like working with these two pair of directors?
Yeah, well, you know, I'll jump in quickly. Without Ray, it would have been a different experience. I mean, Ray was a co-director, co-writer, but if, let's say, he was just like a visor, right? Without Ray, it would be a humongous different experience. And to me, it sounds even funny that there are war films that don't have, you know, a guy who actually did it. That civilians are telling these stories, because how can you be so accurate then? You know what I mean? At that point, then it gets into, you know, dramatization or fiction or whatever. And so having Ray there was needed completely. I mean, I can't tell you one time that Alex has given me a note. All of the notes came from Ray.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Everything. Yeah.
Well, guys, we gotta wrap. But
man.
wow, I mean, just the work you guys put into that, I'm blown away.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Always good to see
Thanks a lot. You too. You too.
Thank you. Nice
Thanks,
meeting
man.
you guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.